Okay, here we go. Derrick Minner, Charles Rosa. I think it is Guru on the mic.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with another underdog in this one, too. I'm going to go with Derrick Minner in this one. And when you're looking at this fight, this is an interesting fight to me because Charles Rosa is a guy that's never been submitted. You saw in the Bryce Mitchell fight, it's going to take something to submit this guy. He's real scrappy. He's going to just be in there till the end. But since he's came back from that injury, he fought 3 times. He fought Manny Bermudez, then he fought the Bryce Mitchell fight, and he fought Kevin Aguilar. And when he fought Manny Bermudez, he missed weight by like a large amount. He's gone past the UFC now and lost again on the regional scene a couple times. So it seems like Manny Bermudez, he started off his career, real strong, but kind of, veered off track. So to me, that wasn't a great win. He got the first round armbar, and there was a little bit of controversy there too, because he had, his feet inside the cage when he had the armbar. But, also then you watch his fight with Bryce Mitchell, he gets dominated, taken down at will, real poor fight IQ. And then in his fight with Kevin Aguilar, I felt like Kevin Aguilar went in there and looked out of shape, man. He missed weight. He was chubby in the fight and just didn't look like he was training very much for that fight. So Charles Rosa went in there, was at 155, so he didn't have to cut any weight. And, he was able to get a close decision win. It wasn't like he blew Kevin Aguilar out of the water. But, on the feet, I do think Rosa is probably the better striker. But Minner, I think, has more power in his hands for sure, and he's wild. So I think he's going to be able to use his striking to close the distance, hit the takedowns. He has a lot of first-round submissions, so that's definitely something that, I think last time when he fought TJ Laramie, he was like 17-1 to win first-round submission. So that was a hell of a bet. If you catch that, he won in like 30 seconds. And but with this fight with Charles Rosa, I just feel like he's going to be able to hit the takedowns, and I like that, he is a guy that does have cardio issues. If you look at his career, everything like that, a lot of people will say, if you could survive the first round with Derrick Minner, you're probably going to get the win. But I do like that now he's in the UFC. He's only 30 years old, so he has a ton of experience that he's fought a lot of guys. And I feel like now he's at Glory MMA. He had a full training camp. I think he's going to be taking it a lot more serious. I think a lot of his fights, he was winning the fights and then he lost. So I think if he just comes in here as a little bit more composure, a little bit better cardio, a little bit better fight IQ, better coaching, with James Krause in his corner, maybe he could go out there and, put a couple wins together, because I do think he's a talented grappler. And I just like this matchup because I don't think Rosa is a power guy. Rosa is live for a submission, because Minner is a guy that, we've seen him submitted, I think 6 times, and sometimes he can get a little bit complacent on top, but I think he's going to be able to hit the takedowns. And I'm just going to bank on him having better cardio here and a better game plan with Glory MMA. So I'm going to go with Derrick Minner here, and I'm going to say he either wins a decision or gets a first-round submission.
Like it. Locke, who you got?
Yeah, this is another one where I'm looking at the total and the under 2.5, as I think that this will be an all-action packed fight. The jury's out on Derrick Minner, right? 22 out of 25 of his victories by submission, absolutely insane percentage there. Most of his wins obviously coming in that first round as well too. I think the only couple fights that he's won by decision was against a guy who ended his career 11-6 and another guy who ended his career 4-3. Like, that just tells you the kind of level of competition. But that was a while ago as well too. You got to give some benefit of the doubt to Minner here. Like Guru said, the guy's only 30 years old still, right? He still has time to make improvements. Obviously made that jump over to Glory MMA as well too. But I don't know. I see this as a guy that will go in there and kind of just stick with what brought him to the show, and that's that first round berserker, looking for that grappling, looking for that submission, trying to take you out. Obviously it pulls off that great 40-second submission victory over TJ Laramie last time around. But with Charles Rosa, again, black belt in jiu-jitsu, managed to survive 15 full minutes of Bryce Mitchell absolutely grapple fucking him, putting him in like how many different twister attempts. That's got to be a record easily in one fight. But when he's on the feet, obviously, I think he'll be the crisper striker here too. If you remember the Shane Burgos fight, he's doing some good work in those first 2 rounds. And then in that 3rd round, gets caught and get knocked out. But I was kind of surprised that he was as competitive as he was against Shane Burgos in that striking realm. Obviously, in the orthodox style, we see him a little bit more in that kickboxing style, right? When he switches to southpaw, it goes almost like Wonder Boy style, where he has that karate stance, wide base, kind of like hopping on his tippy toes. And you even hear his corner in his last fight yelling that out. I mean, like hit him with that Wonder Boy, and he's always doing that from the southpaw position, coming straight down the middle with that left hand, or kicks a lot too from that southpaw position. So I like that out of him. I think he'll have the slight striking advantage here over Derrick Minner, who has some solid power of his own in his hands. But I think this comes down to ultimately this fight being in the grappling realm. I think both guys, mainly Derrick Minner probably just trying to get that choke, trying to grab an arm, trying to grab a leg, whatever it may be. And we see Rosa survive that first round. And then that drop off is just clear as day with Derrick Minner. Unless he makes some serious changes here, I see this fight as a quintessential Derrick Minner fight, where if he doesn't get that first round sub, that second round, it's going to get a little bit hazy for him. We know Charles Rosa can go 3 rounds. We know he has a decent gas tank, and he has great jiu-jitsu himself too. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this fight in the second round. Charles Rosa kind of going for the grappling himself, maybe a club and sub, maybe just finds a submission himself. But I do like the Charles Rosa side here, lying a little bit too wide. So I don't mind anybody taking that dog shot here on Derrick Minner, because I think there's some value there. Even if you want to chase that submission prop, or even that inside the distance prop for Derrick Minner, might be a good idea. But the under 2.5, that's where I got my money. I personally have a bet on it, minus 160. I thought that was a great line. I think combined, these guys are like 45 out of 53 fights. The under 2.5 is hit. That's a crazy percentage, 85% right there. At minus 160, the implied odds are about 60%. So you're getting some good value there if you want to talk numbers. But the under 2.5 is where my money's at. I'll go with the Charles Rosa side, but again, that total is where I cover the potential underdog pulling off the upset, just like in the Chris Daukaus and Alexei Oleinik fight. But I'll go with the Charles Rosa side here, and I'll take him to win by second round sub.
Great stuff, Locke. Cody, who you got?
Yeah, Derrick Minner is all of a sudden everyone's darling, and I don't exactly understand why. I mean, 28 wins, and he had no significant victories. I mean, his biggest win was a submission over Clay Collard, a pro boxer. And outside of that win, I mean, his biggest win of his entire career is TJ Laramie, a 21-year-old kid making his UFC debut. Like, does that scream like, man, Derrick Minner's the man? He's subbing all these high-level guys. You look at his record, it's for the most part 95% guys you have never heard of. His losses are the guys you've heard of, and those are the fights he's losing because he doesn't go out there and he doesn't blow you out of the first round. We know he's extremely dangerous. Even the loss to Grant Dawson, like, man, he had Grant Dawson in some nasty guillotine attempts. The guy is very opportunistic. The Laramie fight, he didn't take TJ Laramie down. Laramie, for whatever reason, decided to push him up against the cage, put his head in a bad spot, and then you have Derrick Minner jumping guard. That's what he does. But with Charles Rosa, BJJ black belt, Ricardo Laborio, BJJ black belt, trains full-time out of American Top Team. He's seen this before. And the guy does have good grappling in that he's never been submitted as a professional. We talked about Bryce Mitchell having in all types of nasty spots, but he's just durable all around. I mean, he's fought in Shane Burgos of the world, a top 10 guy. He's fought in Yair Rodriguez to a decision, a top 10 guy. He's fought in Bryce Mitchell, who's just ungodly strong, man. That guy's clinch and just like overall physical strength are second to none. So with Derrick Minner's also very strong, but I mean, he just burns himself out way too quick. His striking, it leaves something to be desired. If this is striking, Charles Rosa is going to beat him. If this stays grappling, Charles Rosa is probably still going to beat him. He just needs to make sure he gets out of that first round. I mean, yeah, the guy might jump guard on a couple of guillotine attempts. The guy might fish for an anaconda. The guy might go try to take the back and fish for a rear naked choke. He likes chokes a lot. He's not really like a leg lock guy. He's not really like an armbar guy. If he finds your neck, just like the Wu-Tang song, protect your neck. That's Derrick Minner, protect your neck. The benefit is that it's not Brian Ortega where you have to protect it for 15 minutes. It's Derrick Minner where you have to protect it for 3.5 minutes to 5 at the very most, and then he tends to fall apart a little bit. So Charles Rosa has done a good job of this, right? Guru made a great point of bringing up Manny Bermudez, and yes, he did miss weight and all that, but Manny Bermudez fights very similar to Derrick Minner, where he's balls to the walls for the first round, tries to submit you, and if he doesn't submit you, he falls apart. If you remember his fight with Rosa, it's the same thing. He takes out Charles Rosa, takes him down, and all of a sudden you see Rosa throw up the armbar, catch this guy who's a little bit reckless. I've seen Minner fight live. I've seen him fight 20 times on tape, 20 different fights. There's a lot of spots where he almost submits the guy in the first round and they come back. Our boy Jesse Arnett here, but look at him versus Jordan Griffin for LFA. It's exactly routine Derrick Minner 101. 10 submission attempts in the first round, and then he himself gets armbarred in the second. It's been known to happen, and I think this is the exact same spot. I think he goes out there against Rosa. I think he has a good first round. And then if Rosa survives that first round, even if Rosa lost that first round bad, even if it was a 10-8 first round, I'd be looking to hit that live line on Charles Rosa after the first round, because if he'll get a much better line on it after the first if he loses it. And I truthfully do believe that this fight, I agree with Locke. It's under 2.5. It's finishing inside the distance. I'm going to go with Rosa inside the distance. And Rosa's not really much of a TKO guy. He's more of a submission guy. And even though it's like, oh, well, Derrick Minner's a submission guy too. It's like, yeah, he has 22 submission wins. He also has 8 submission losses. Like, he's, live by the sword, die by the sword. In his case, live by the submission, die by the submission. Like, he's got tremendous offensive grappling, but his defensive grappling certainly leaves something to be desired. And Charles Rosa, again, is in the best room in the world for the last 10 years, day in and day out, multiple-time UFC veteran, fought in guys that are still at the top of the game. It's like, I can't fully write him off just yet. So sign me up, Charles Rosa, and I'm looking to maybe check out the live line after the first round as well.
Yeah, hey, I love that live look, Cody. That's a great point. Yeah, man, I mean, Minner, it's first round or bust. I mean, and sometimes it's not even the whole first round or bust. This is a guy who's lost plenty of fights in the first round. For me, the thing is, right, Minner's live for a sub, right? I mean, anybody. This guy is a neck specialist. He gets that neck, especially early in a fight. He got serious problems. But you know what? Charles Rosa, he's never been submitted as a professional. And look at some of the dudes he's been in with. Now, don't get me wrong. Has he been absolutely dominated in the grappling by a guy like Bryce Mitchell? Yeah. But could Bryce Mitchell ever find the finish? No. And Minner's not going to be there for the full 3 rounds. Now, I do question if he has improved the gas tank. You think moving to glory, James Krause is going to try to shore that up. But how much time has he had to improve this guy's cardio to gain an extra 2 rounds when this guy is used to pretty much first round or bust? I don't see it. I got Charles Rosa in this one. But Locke, I think you might have the angle, man. I think you might be able to cover both bases with that under 2.5. If Minner pulls it off, congrats, you win. If Rosa pulls it off, it probably is going to happen before we hit that halfway mark of the 3rd round. I think that's a pretty good look, Locke, but Charles Rosa's the guy for me.